The royal era begins, Princess Leonor's lavish Denmark wedding that changed everything. The bells of Copenhagen rang louder than they ever had before. Spain's royal anthem blended with Denmark's proud melody, echoing through the air like history itself taking a deep breath. The world watched, millions held their breath, and in that moment, it wasn't just a wedding. It was the beginning of a new royal era. They said Princess Leonor was too young, too modern, too different for the traditions of Europe's old monarchies. But as she stepped into the light that morning, every doubt, every rumor, every whisper was silenced. Because this wasn't just another royal spectacle. It was a declaration, a royal transformation born out of love, power, and destiny. This is the story of how Spain's future queen changed everything, from the heart of Denmark. From the very first moment she appeared, draped in ivory silk embroidered with gold from Andalusia, Leonor commanded the world's attention. Her gown shimmered like a reflection of Spain's sun, yet its shape carried the restraint of Danish design. A perfect balance of her two worlds, heritage and future. It wasn't just beautiful, it was symbolic. Spain's warmth meeting Denmark's grace. The crowd erupted as she stepped out of the carriage. The streets overflowed with royal fans from both nations, some waving Danish flags, others holding portraits of Leonor as a child. Every face told the same story. They weren't just witnessing a wedding. They were watching a queen being born. And waiting for her, inside the grand cathedral, was Prince Christian. The young man who, once destined only for Denmark, now stood on the threshold of a shared future between two thrones. Their eyes met. For a brief moment, the world disappeared. You could feel it, their connection was not arranged by politics, but written by fate. As the ceremony began, history itself seemed to lean in. The royal choirs sang, the golden candles flickered, and the air trembled with reverence. When the priest spoke their names, it wasn't just a union of man and woman, it was the merging of centuries. And yet, beneath all the splendor, there was something deeply human. A quiet tenderness that spoke louder than the fanfare. But behind the scenes, not everything was seamless. Tensions had simmered in the months leading up to the wedding. Some in Spain feared Leonor would be lost to Denmark. Some in Denmark whispered about a foreign queen stepping into their palace. The pressure on the young couple was enormous. But Leonor, raised in the shadow of the Spanish crown, understood duty. And she also understood love. In private moments before the ceremony, she reportedly told her mother, Queen Letizia, "If I am to lead, I must first love." That single sentence became the heartbeat of the entire event. When the vows were exchanged, Leonor and Christian's words didn't sound rehearsed, they sounded real. No political undertones, no royal stiffness, just two people, bound by destiny and choice alike. Christian promised to honor her duty as his own, and Leonor vowed to serve both nations with her heart. And when they kissed, the cathedral erupted into applause. A spontaneous, unrestrained moment of joy that felt almost unroyal, and that's what made it unforgettable. Outside, the celebration swept through both capitals. Copenhagen was alive with music and fireworks. In Madrid, thousands gathered at the royal palace, their cheers echoing across the Plaza de Oriente. For the first time in modern history, a royal wedding wasn't just about bloodlines, it was about unity, hope, and the promise of renewal. But this day wasn't only about romance. It marked a turning point for monarchy itself. Leonor's wedding represented something bigger, a generational shift in how royalty connects with people. Gone were the days of distant formality. This was a royal family that smiled, laughed, cried, and loved openly. Her authenticity reignited a connection between the crown and the people, something that had been fading for decades. Throughout the evening, as the royal reception unfolded, cameras caught candid moments that only deepened the magic. Leonor dancing barefoot for a few minutes during the ball, sharing laughter with her younger sister Sophia. Prince Christian embracing Queen Letizia, calling her family for the first time. King Felipe raising his glass and declaring, "Tonight, Europe celebrates more than love, it celebrates the future." Every gesture carried meaning, every smile, a message. The decor of the palace ballroom was breathtaking, white roses from Spain intertwined with red tulips from Denmark, symbolizing the two nations forever joined. The chandeliers sparkled like constellations over the royal family, and for those who watched on television, it looked less like a political event and more like a cinematic masterpiece. And yet, beyond all the grandeur, what captivated people most was Leonor herself. The young princess who once shyly waved from palace balconies now stood confidently as the symbol of modern royalty. She spoke briefly during the dinner, and her words would echo for generations. Royalty is not about crowns. It's about courage. To serve, to love, to unite. Those few sentences changed everything. They were quoted by newspapers, replayed on news networks, and etched into the collective memory of millions. For the first time in years, royalty felt relevant again. Not as a symbol of distance, but of connection. Her speech wasn't just emotional, it was visionary. It marked the start of a new chapter for both Spain and Denmark. Within days, public approval for both royal houses soared. Young people, who once viewed monarchies as relics, began seeing Leonor and Christian as modern figures of inspiration. And as their first official portraits as husband and wife were released, Leonor in a soft Spanish silk gown, Christian in a tailored Danish uniform, the symbolism was clear: two worlds, one future. Historians have already begun calling this the royal era. Because from this wedding forward, everything changed. How the public viewed royalty. How nations collaborated. How love, once confined to royal duty, became a bridge across cultures. By uniting Spain and Denmark, Leonor didn't just marry a prince. She built a new royal legacy, one defined by empathy, unity, and strength. A monarchy that breathes, evolves, and connects. And as the final fireworks illuminated the Danish sky that night, Leonor and Christian stepped onto the palace balcony one last time. Below them, the crowd chanted their names. In that moment, the world saw not just a royal couple, but the dawn of something new. Because this wasn't just a fairy tale. It was a statement, a reawakening of what royalty can mean in the modern world. Princess Leonor's wedding wasn't simply about love, it was about leadership. It wasn't just history, it was transformation. And as the echoes of that day continue to ripple across Europe, one truth remains undeniable. The royal era has begun. And it began with her.